All right. Well, welcome back to the Tarqaron podcast.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, it's been a
Yes.
little bit since we've sat down for one of
We skipped
these.
one episode. I was like, for a while, I was like, oh, we can keep it consistent. Never, like, pretty much never skip an episode. But, it just ended up working out. Like, it would be more convenient because we had some things backed up and some scheduling issues. So, to throw in a whole hour and a half, 2 hour podcast in the mix as
Yeah.
well would have been a lot. So.
Yeah, we were busy, a little bit busy last month, so
And it wasn't
made
like,
sense
at the time, it wasn't like the most stuff to talk about, so it wasn't like we were missing out on a lot there.
Right.
But we've got plenty to
Right.
talk about now. Lots happened. And yeah, we're here to talk about it. If you're new to the channel, we do a variety of content. We review movies and video games. We watch Survivor and discuss that every week. And we have just general discussions, fun games and series that we do. But every month, more or less, we do the Tarqaron podcast where we talk about whatever we want to talk about that wouldn't fit into videos. And we talk about a little bit of reflecting and reading some comments from you guys as well. So if you
Yep.
ever leave a comment on any video, we'll be sure to read it on the Tarqaron podcast. This is where you want to go to see our response. All right.
Cool. All
So
right.
where to start? I think we should just
Yeah.
go right into it. I think we should talk about the Nintendo Direct because
Let's do that. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
little bit. That's probably one of the more fresher things to talk about here. So it was just last week, as we're recording this,
Yes.
and it was. So I saw a lot of different takes on it. I saw a lot of people being like, it was great if you're a Mario fan, but not so great if you're not.
imagine
And a lot
not
of people
being a
said it
Mario
was-
fan.
Imagine. But there was some people that were just like that said it was pretty mid up until like the
Yeah.
last announcement. And like I kind of get it to a degree, but to me it was like it as well as the State of Play, the PlayStation one, were both very like RPG focused, which makes sense because Tokyo Game Show was like just going on or is just starting
Mhm.
like right around that time. So that kind of made sense that there was like a little bit more niche or obscure kind of Japanese stuff. And I think there was a farming game, so that makes that makes sense that showed up as well.
Yes.
But
Yeah, I get it. It's a past couple directs where people have said they're mid. Like a lot of the ones where they say it's mid, it actually appeals to me pretty well because like it is
yeah.
a lot of the farming sim stuff does appeal to me. So there were a couple
Yeah.
directs a while ago that were like, it's all farming
like
sims. I don't care.
There's like two or
and,
three farming games, yeah.
But like I'm usually
Um,
here for a lot of it, and I actually I was interested in a good amount of the stuff. Like I don't need to be blown away by everything in a Nintendo Direct. If
Yeah.
there's stuff. If I come out with a handful of things where like, oh, I would try that out, that's good enough for me. And obviously the end announcement is the piece de resistance.
Yeah.
It's the
Thousand Year Door remaster.
that was
Almost like
amazing to me.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
I had forgotten this Nintendo Direct was coming on entirely. I did not watch it live. So my brother had texted me like, "Did you see the Direct?" And luckily he texted me that because I definitely would have just gone on YouTube and it would have
Yeah.
popped up and gotten spoiled for me. Now, when someone asks you, "Have you seen the Direct?" it is a little bit of a tip off. Like, there's probably something it's not something to talk about there,
Right.
Maybe something I'm personally interested in. So I was kind of like thinking, what could it be? And it was like this last announcement, or like as I was watching the Direct, I was like, there's got to be something. This last announcement that'd be worth. Like, did you see that? But I did not see this one coming.
No, it kind of came a little bit out of nowhere, actually.
But it's one of those things where this game is near and dear to me. It's probably my favorite game of all time, honestly. Is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and it's one of those things where it's like frame one. As soon as that book comes, the music, it's like I know what it is. I'm like, all right, it's exactly what I wanted. Then what I spent the rest of the trailer, I was like waiting to see if there was going to be some shades of the original Paper Mario also there. But I was like, no, just all Thousand Year Door, which is an interesting choice. They didn't remake the original. They did do the Thousand Year Door.
Yeah,
Is,
I almost wonder if some of that has to do with the fact that because Paper Mario, the original, was one of the selling points of the Nintendo Expansion Pass, having N64 games.
Yeah, and
so I was wondering
completely
if
forgot about
maybe,
that too.
yeah. So I was wondering if maybe like they felt like remaking that would maybe lessen some of the value. They haven't like added tons of N64 games to that. I would say they've added a few here or there,
Yeah.
but there's not been anything like overly mind blowing. I'm just gonna be honest. But I did download. I think the Game Boy Advance is more alluring for the expansion pass.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
particularly having like the Golden Sun games on there. I don't know if those have shown up on that yet, but in any case, I was just saying like but this doing the Thousand Year Door is like it's just wild, you know. It's just to me, I think the more interesting thing to me is the fact that like Mario RPG, the actual like ground up remake that they're doing, this seems like it's not quite a ground up. It's probably like the bones are there and it's like a complete visual overhaul.
Sure.
Obviously, we'll probably learn more as it comes closer to that period of time. Because Mario RPG is I would say the game that is dearest to me in terms of Mario games, like the sort of role playing game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Thousand Year Door is like a pretty close second.
Yeah.
Probably the original Paper Mario and then the first Mario and Luigi are all very like near and dear to me.
They're the greats.
They are. They're all great. They are all great. Like you can't really take anything from as Mario and Luigi started continuing on. I think people tended to think a little less highly of them as they sort of kept going along. But and the same with Paper Mario, to be honest. So it's just kind of wonderful that this is going up again. But what were you saying? You were like, here's the thing.
So the thing is, like, Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door is not one I would be like, oh, I needs a visual upgrade. Like, if I go back on the GameCube, I have no problem playing that. Like, I don't need the Switch version for that. It's more so like the message, and also giving me an excuse to play it again. And also the handheld aspect is cool as well. But also just the fact that it's like they're putting this out there right soon after Super Mario RPG. Like this is a good sign. If we support these games, like this is what we want. Like like no one wants a remake of Sticker Star on the Switch. No one wants that. This is what people want. So it's like if we can push this, like please don't just stop here and then move on. Like I want to see. All right, maybe we see more games in the same vein again. That would be my hope.
Well, that was the thing, right? With as we talked about in the last direct that we talked about when Mario RPG was first announced, was like the idea for more merchandising to show up from it is another thing that also excites me as somebody who likes things probably maybe a little too much. Give me those Geno plushes, give me those Mallow plushes, give me those figures, you know, But the thing is like you won't see a future for those things unless people put their money where their mouth is, and like that to me has like been kind of the thing where it's like sending Nintendo a message that we want more of this thing is like it may be silly to say that like I feel like I will personally like buy people this game to get them to play it because it's like they're great. They're great. Like they're perfect beginner RPGs. Like my nieces find them accessible because they like Mario a lot.
Yeah.
But they also tell really good, funny. They tell good stories and they tell funny stories. The comedic writing in the Mario RPG, like across the board, great. I mean, they are legitimately funny. Constantly, like that was one of the things where somebody drew a mock-up of Luigi's sort of side story. They drew like a mock-up of like a title screen for Paper Luigi and the Marvelous Compass.
Yeah, you sent me that.
And it's like to me, like that side bit is so funny. It might be one of my favorite little side bits they've ever done in a Paper Mario game, other than maybe no, I would say that's up there at the very least. Luigi's contributions in the first game are really funny too, where you read his diary, and he talks about like Luigi's Mansion, which had been like announced at that time, and it was kind of cute how they had little references to stuff that was in development at the time. But having people like I don't know, like experience the sense of humor and the whimsy that that these games have. It's fun, and it allows like more fleshing out of this universe and worlds. And to me, there's like an imaginative aspect to it as well. I remember Mario RPG like really captured my imagination a lot as a kid. In terms of, there's times where I still think about like, what's Nimbus Land or something. I still think about like, dang, there's like a huge cloud up there. That'd be neat if there was like a civilization up on that. That'd be neat. There's like a city like floating around up there. I still think about stuff like that, and like, so the imagination that Mario RPG in particular for me is really important. But I can see that same amount of imagination capturing someone when they're young with the Thousand Year Door. Like both those games have just such stark, distinct stories and like ideas that like the Mario games don't, like the mainline Mario games, as amazing as they are, don't always really necessarily have in terms of their story. So that, to me, is one reason why I think it's important to capture an audience, a younger audience, who's never experienced any of those games before and never would if you didn't re-release them. So.
Yeah. I mean, both those games, Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, are ones that are like unlike anything we have today for Nintendo, and like especially Mario. It's a really nice sign that we're seeing the antithesis of the direction they took with the Mario RPG games, where it's like, okay, we want generic Toads, we don't want any of these custom characters, and if you want custom like unique characters and different species and races of in the Mario world, like Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario are the two places to go for that. And the fact that we're getting both of them so soon, one after the other, it's really nice to see. You know,
it's like they're tying a nice bow on that, because I think most people can assume that the next Switch is probably coming out towards the end of next year. So to me, it feels like a nice like bow getting tied on the knot that is the Nintendo Switch and the life cycle of that console. And I don't know, it's nice because it does feel, other than Metroid Prime 4, it feels like a complete, like the Switch has sort of told its complete story. We have two spectacular Zelda games. We have an amazing console Mario game, a great kind of concept Mario game, which Bowser's Fury we've talked about on this channel as well. We're getting a 2D Mario game to end it out, a brand new one coming out just either later this month or next month. And they all do feel like kind of the last hurrah, but like in a really positive way for this era of Nintendo, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, you never really have a system finish that strong, especially for Nintendo. A lot of times, like the last few months, it's like we're bleeding out here. It's like, all right, we're just biding our time. We'll have like one game maybe, and it's like, man, we're starving here.
The Wii and the Wii U both kind of went out with kind of a
whimper,
depressing way. Yeah, I mean, the Wii U had Twilight Princess HD. It was something. It was a remake though, but that was the thing. That is what a lot of this Direct was. It was a lot of remakes and ports, and that is what we're talking about, I guess, with these. These are remakes and ports, but they're ones of like older games, I guess, to a degree. Thousand Year Door is older than Twilight Princess, and Mario RPG came out in 1996. So, these are older games getting new light, new breath of fresh air. I don't know. It's good to see. My theory is that Metroid Prime 4 will probably be a launch title for the next Nintendo system, whatever that'll be. Maybe. I'm hoping that that's what they do. I hope that when they announce that, that's going to be like the big marquee title.
Yeah, if it's going to be pushed to the next system, then it should definitely be that.
Yeah, especially because like Metroid Dread was, I think, a wake up call to Nintendo for like Metroid can be a really popular franchise.
Yeah,
like it can be one of our big titles, because that game sold really well, like better than any other Metroid game. So
that's great. I'm glad it did.
Yeah,
I'm glad it did. I will say, I should also acknowledge that I said earlier, I could just play it on the GameCube. I have no problem doing that. I don't really
Right.
need the new version, but I
Same.
have to acknowledge my privilege in that I have the game. So also the
Yeah.
benefit
Well,
is having it more accessible for people to play now.
right. For those of you who don't know, the aftermarket on the Thousand Year Door is insane. It's like you have to basically fork out like $120 basically to get it these days.
Yeah.
Disc only, maybe like 80 or 90. It's insane. The for cart only for Mario RPG, that's probably only like 40, $50 you probably have to shell out for that. So it's still a little bit of a privilege. You still need the hardware, stuff to play it on. Accessible, but not unless you're looking for it. Or if you're fortunate enough to get the Super Nintendo Mini console, then Mario RPG's on there. But you're having it in a new way and they showed off like new bonus features. Like there's like a triple attack thing that you can do now. That's really neat.
Right, for Mario
There's
RPG.
there's
Yeah.
all, yeah. There's all kinds of little bonus stuff that they're adding to it. So I'm looking forward to that
Which
coming
is
out because I'm gonna play it for sure.
the same reason. The accessibility thing is the same reason why I think we're still missing one big thing for Switch, and that's the Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and potentially Radiant Dawn. I would have ideally put them together, but like give that more accessibility.
The Dawn Saga or something you could call it, like the Radiance
Collection.
the Radiant Collection.
Boom.
I feel like that has to be what Intelligent's working on right now. Engage was a mild success. Three Houses was a huge success, massive, sold really really well. So it's I think what may be giving them pause, maybe, I don't know. This is complete speculation. I was actually just thinking about this the other day. But it might be that because I think historically, all the DS games, the remakes of Fire Emblem games have not sold well at all. The remake of the first game, Shadow Dragon, didn't sell well on the DS. It tanked. Shadows of whatever it was called, the remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden on the 3DS, that didn't sell well either. Shadows of Valentia, I think it was. That also didn't sell very well. But like all their other like weirder experimental games, like Fire Emblem If or Fates, that apparently sold really well, which is surprising to me because I thought the gimmick of that game was the fact that you had to buy two games to play the whole story. Seems like it was a little based on fan reaction. You hear people love it, people really hate it. And you can't even get the third version anymore because the Nintendo 3DS thing is gone, so you can't even get the like combined story anymore, which I think is also stupid. Maybe a remake of that wouldn't be too terrible of an idea either, to be honest. But
maybe
honestly, Path of Radiance is, I think, probably the more pressing remake, because like
I think it's not even close. Like I think it would do extremely well. I think
it would do really well
just
too.
Ike as a character is like, because of Smash Bros. Perhaps is like got so much more behind it. Like I think there's so much more weight behind those games. Like there's Legacy. It's before like the big surge of fans came in with Awakening, so it's like a lot of these newer Fire Emblem fans never got to play them, and there's also a lot of people who are super nostalgic for them. So I think you get the best of both worlds, like with Paper Mario.
Yeah, I remember a friend of mine in high school really loved Path of Radiance, and he like idolized Ike, was like one of his favorite characters, period.
Yeah.
And so he was really excited when then Ike made it into Brawl, because it was like Ike's here, like that's really really cool. So
I mean, I love Path of Radiance, one of my favorite games ever. Super nostalgic for me, and that should also not be understated that the Thousand Year Door is super nostalgic as well. You know, just the music. It's one of those few games where it's like every world that you go through in that game is like, I have fond memories of all of them. Like it's very memorable to me, the different characters that you go through.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
There's some parts where like you don't look forward to them as much, but there's redeeming qualities to each one, and then it's something special about that game. And I I ideally would have liked to have both Paper Marios. Would have been great, but there's been a certain thing with Nintendo lately where they've been real stingy. So like Metroid Prime just by itself, you're not getting more than one. So they want the opportunity to milk it further potentially. But with Paper Mario, we might just never get it. But that's Paper Mario.
They want to again. They want to sell their expansion pass, whatever.
Yeah, but at the very least, the original Paper Mario would have had more to gain from a visual upgrade. You could definitely like seeing it in like the Thousand Year Door visual style. That would be a significant difference.
Yeah. But honestly, I think the strongest suits of both those games is how well, even the older versions of them, how well the test of time they've stolen. They've withstood the test of time because like their visual design is just so perfect. Like it's so
it's so charming.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because like obviously you can see there's a huge upgrade from the N64 to the GameCube version, but when you go to the N64 one, there's a lot of charm to that. Maybe even more charm than the Thousand Year Door's visual style. Even if I prefer the Thousand Year Door to the original, like I love both of them, and that's why I would want people to experience both. So the only thing I'm worried about now is that people will just go all on Thousand Year Door, and they'll like the people who've never played it. And we might never experience the original. I personally forgot it was on the Nintendo Switch thing. I don't really mess with that. Yeah. So it would have been nice to give people to be able to start with that one, and work your way up to the Thousand Year Door. It's satisfying as well. But I'm just super here for these two. Also, the other surprising part of it is that Super Mario RPG is still coming. Like the fact you would release it so soon after
in November. It's out in November. So, yeah.
Like you would think they would wait on it even if they were gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, just the thing that Mario RPG, just so many fun little things in that game. A lot of secrets. A lot of. I just hope that they do. Mm-hmm. They do that game as much justice as it looks like they're doing to it.
Yep. The only thing I've heard, or I saw a screenshot, is there's an emission in the Thousand Year Door, which is tragic, but it's always it's a year out at least, so it could change. But someone grabbed like a screen grab of the Toad is missing, who talked about Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. He would talk about the little Game Boy Advance games, the
Toad. Oh, I hope they add him in.
He's missing.
Because he'll talk about he would if he's back in here, he's back in this game. They could have him talk about stuff
talk about Switch games,
like Switch games, or because I think like. Because he talked specifically about intelligent system games. He talked about Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and he also talked about Path of Radiance and the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem games also.
Yeah.
So it was like he talked about the other intelligent systems games, which is really funny to me. Yeah.
So I mean, I would have been fine with him just talking about the same games. So it would have been great.
He could, yeah.
But
that'd be cute. Yeah.
Don't take him out, please. At the very least, have him talk about some Switch games.
Well, I feel like they might have to, because how else you have the Game Boy Advance the SP messaging thing, right? Are they gonna have that?
He flips it up.
Yeah,
that's true. They just switched that out entirely. Yeah,
that's tragic, because there's all kinds of Mario. There's Mario references in that, historic Mario references. Yeah. Man, that game is so good.
It's so good. Yeah. I'm glad that people get to experience it for the longest time. Even on the Discord with good old Thanos, like you need to play these games. He was talking about like, should I just go right to Bug Fables? I'm like, no, don't go right to Bug Fables. Play Paper Mario.
No, why would you do that?
But at the same time, it was like, they are less accessible. So that is my privilege again. But now he's got no excuse, and he even like added me on the Discord. It's like, we were just talking about this like the day before it came out. We were talking about like how it's like so hard to get a hold of, but I'm very excited for that. I just want an excuse. I was like down to play it again soon anyway, so I'm glad to have an excuse to play it.
Definitely a good excuse for sure.
be able to play it on the Switch, whatever, you know. Like honestly, just fuck Sticker Star and
And
everything
all
it
those
did.
Color Splash. Do I own? I don't even know if I own Color Splash. I should probably. I know that game like is whatever, but like I should try to pick up some of the Wii U games that I don't have because Pete actually just released a video recently about like Wii U games and going up in price and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
which is another thing. Pete Dorr, I've been watching. I
yeah.
know it's been a great time. You know, like you've been watching him as a streamer for a while now, and I don't
Yeah.
watch much of streams, so it's kind
And
of
we had him on
been.
the channel for those of you who don't know. We had him on a couple years ago. Like to have him on again at some point. It'd be fun to do another box art battles with him, maybe. But
I know you followed his streams regularly, but yeah, I don't watch many streams, so it was nice to see when he started posting like daily uploads on YouTube, and Pete Dorr fans were eating good, and it just got me feeling nostalgic because you know Pete Dorr is literally one of the first channels I've ever subscribed to on YouTube, like 2009, like what?
Yeah.
2009 at this point. It's crazy, but like I just remember just seeing him in this with this huge stacks of games in front of him going through his collection and like who is this person? How do people own this many games? Video? Yeah.
The 360 collection video is legendary. And it was like I think it was like his first like big break on YouTube. And then of course his game room tour.
The game room tour is iconic. Well. And
yeah.
just like at the time when I was like this is my first introduction to retro gaming collecting online, like what, there's people like this, so how does he have all these games? Like what in the world? And he introduced me to a whole world. And Pete's Game Room Forum, which is eventually where we would meet. We wouldn't have met if it weren't for Pete Dorr.
Yeah honestly, that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. So
a whole lot to him. And I think there's something like I've gotten more of an appreciation for him watching his videos recently because of that. It's like, it's just the way he talks about collecting. Like it makes you appreciate it more. Like it makes me want to collect and look for certain games more. You know, it makes me passionate about it. The way he talks about them.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I've also really grown to appreciate about him over the years, and one of the reasons that I love watching him and love his content is that I feel a real kinship with him in terms of like liking games despite them maybe not being perfect or being bad, you know, quote unquote bad games. And there are a lot of bad games that he plays and has positive things to say about. And that's something that I really like as well. It's something that's like on the film side of things. That's why I watch like Red Letter Media is one of my favorite YouTube channels of all time, full stop. Like it's every show that they do, everything they talk about is wonderful. It's fun. They have bad movie reviews, they do contemporary movie reviews, and then they do like nostalgic look backs at like maybe movies they just want to talk about that they're nostalgic for, or great movies from the past, things like that. But appreciating or enjoying things that are bad or incompetent or whatever have you, but like finding the joy and the entertainment from watching something that's terrible. A lot of people, there's a whole subculture behind watching terrible movies. With games, there's a lot less of a subculture behind that, but I feel like people like Pete are helping sort of foster that kind of idea of appreciating games that are notoriously terrible or bad. Balan Wonderworld is a perfect example. Not a great video game by any means. I really like it a lot. I think that game had a lot of stuff going for it. I had a lot of problems with that game, but I feel like everyone was like on the hate bandwagon when it was like, but there's a lot of stuff that's positive to say about it as well. I think. I know Pete defends Bubsy 3D. He says, yes, the first level is terrible, but then once you get past that, it's pretty good. He even defends a game that we've notoriously not liked on this channel, which is Sonic and the Secret Rings.
He's wrong for that.
And I to give him credit, I will like, you know, I'll give it a chance again. But man, Pirate Storm might have been one of the worst levels I've ever played in any video game. So, but so like finding appreciation for stuff like that, that's something that I really enjoy about Pete. And it was just great seeing him come back and make some content again. He does stuff on it. He has a trading card collecting sort of channel as well that he uploads to every so often. But yeah, and then he was most recently he was talking about F-Zero 99, which I've also been playing. That was announced at the Nintendo Direct. I've also played it a little bit this past weekend. I think it's amazing. And definitely play it if you want an F-Zero game to come out. I think Nintendo is going to be watching, see how that game's doing. So it's a lot of fun for sure.
But yeah, and I bought Balan Wonderworld recently. I want to play that too.
It's nice. It's on the cheap. It's pretty cheap, you know. it's like $10 if that. So.
But yeah, P-Tour is great. You know, it's very nostalgic and still a part of our lives all these years later. I was literally a kid when I discovered him, and here we are. Yeah,
I was probably like a freshman in college. Might have been. Yeah, it was right around that time, like 2010, I think was around when. So that's when I discovered All-Gen Gamers, and through Johnny Millennium was my very first. Like that was the first channel I ever subbed to.
Yeah.
Sub 2, and I still watch Johnny to this day too. And but speaking of with Fire Emblem, you actually mentioned that's Johnny's favorite Fire Emblem too, is Path of Radiance. He was just talking about that the other day. So
good. So anything else from the Nintendo Direct we should talk about?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, a lot of remasters, remakes. They talked about there's like that unicorn something game. I don't remember
Unicorn
what it was called.
Overlord.
That looked cool. I really like Vanillaware.
Sure,
I think the visual style is gorgeous always. So that's a game I'm looking forward to. Saga Frontier, I think is what it was. That game looks really interesting. I think I'm gonna wait to hear more about that. That's another game that's very visually striking, but I wanna see more.
I come to the realization, I think, because when talking about how I enjoy even some of these directs people say are mid. There's just something about Nintendo I think scratches a certain itch for me that I could easily watch like a state of play or like Microsoft presentation and be like uninterested for most of it. But Nintendo, like I tend to have more stuff that I'm into, and like these interesting games that you don't see anywhere else too. And like the fact that they bring back like random games that only Nintendo, you would only see Nintendo bringing back.
They cool. Paced it perfectly. That's always the thing, is they seem to pace it out really well almost every single time. Tomb Raider HD remake ports, I'm probably gonna pick those up. I've never played any of those games before, and I've been interested in that at some point, just for like that's gaming history really. So I don't know if those are Switch exclusive. I don't know if those will come to the PlayStation. I assume they're gonna have to, but they announced it at the Direct, and I think those looked fun. Splatoon 3 DLC. I still have yet to crack open my copy, so
you have to crack open Splatoon 2. So I'll get there.
Yeah, someday.
The Rusty got me Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
So I need to play that.
Yeah, you should. There should be some time. We should hop on that. Splatoon 2 is really great. Still. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, but I enjoyed the Nintendo Direct still. I enjoyed it, and
I did too.
Remember it for that last announcement for sure.
Yeah, big time. Everyone, particularly because like I think most people are in agreement. This is probably the last one where it's just going to talk about the Switch. So going out on that, you can't ask for anything better than that, in my opinion.
Except for both Paper Marios together.
And maybe also Metroid Prime 4.
And the Fire Emblems.
And the Fire Emblems. So I guess you can't ask for more, but you know what?
You can always ask for more, folks.
You got to grade it on what's there and not on what your expectations are for it.
Well, also, this is like what an abusive relationship is like the bar is so low for them because they've beaten Paper Mario into the ground. Now we're happy to see the old Paper Mario game come back. It's like, look at this treat we gave you. It's like, yeah, because you just beat me over the head for the past several years with these bad Paper Mario games.
You know what? There's another point too. I just want to touch on this real quick. It's something that Arlo talked about in his video about
Mm.
it, where it's like the main series. You know, Paper Mario had this restriction where it's like you can only do this sort of thing, and they reneged a little bit on it with Origami King, but they were still like, nah, everything still does have to be pretty basic in terms of like the Mario like races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like the mainline Mario games haven't been following that rubric. Like Mario Odyssey has like 6 or 7 new like random weird species.
Yeah, the
It's just
freaking
like,
bunny people. Yeah,
like
there's no sense to it.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense at all.
There's no sense, like
It's like, but every world in that game had a new creature type. You had like the fork people.
Yeah.
You had like the little wood guys. You had like a Cappy. A Cappy is like a race. They're like little ghostly guys.
But that's what's so special to me
bizarre.
about the first two Paper Marios is like you go into Rogueport and you go around, wander around the town. And it's like these characters you don't see anywhere else. It's really cool. Like, and then you go and you play something like a Sticker Star, and you can see the clear difference. Like the writing is not there because you don't have the characters to carry it. Like you can have a generic Toad say like some quirky lines every now and then. It's not going to have the same effects.
As like a gangster Pianta
give me
family.
a gangster Pianta family.
Yeah, that's just like the best thing in the world. That's like my favorite, like one of the best things.
And like I don't want to run around with generic Toads. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense. Like they have something so magical with these first two games, and then Super Paper Mario was a departure, but it was really cool with what it did. Assuming we would get, of course, we're just gonna go back on track. You know, this was a little departure, but no, it was just like, all right, that's the last like good Paper Mario you'll get. Like,
lost the thread there, yeah.
Lost it completely, and please tell me like you're gonna release Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Don't tell me you're gonna go back and then try to make another Paper Mario that's like a Sticker Star like Paper Mario. There's no way. You can't, right? There's, like. Either you don't make any more, and you just like keep like re-releasing older Paper Mario games, or you give us the stuff we want, and hopefully what the fans will show when they show up for this game. Come on, let's see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Also, check out the Nintendo Museum in Japan. It's very relevant.
Oh yeah, it's like cool. I was like, oh, I wish I could go see it. Maybe someday I will.
Maybe someday, you know. All right, so another thing we should talk about is a little Gents Challenge spin-off that we did.
Oh, yeah. Sure, yeah, let's talk about that.
All right, so if you aren't aware, we have a Discord server that we're part of. It's like our little game community we're in. It's a lot of fun. It's been very active lately. I've been really here for it. A lot of stuff going on there, so never too late to join. It's called RNG. We're Rascals and Gents, and there's a link. I'll put a link in the description, and if you ever go to our Gents Challenge video, there's always a link in there that you can click on and go right into the server. And so the regular challenge we do is the Gents Challenge. We do that every 2 months, and that's where you have a 2-month deadline to complete 1 or 2 games within that deadline, and you're usually partnered up with someone. There's a certain theme about it. And you make a list of games you haven't finished, and you can assign each other those games. And it's a fun little challenge. Everybody's playing games, sharing their progress. It's a lot of fun. But I thought it would be cool to do a little spin-off, and we might actually do this regularly during like what I call the off-season of Gents Challenge.
Yeah.
As I wanted to do a little film challenge, so it's called the Film Buffs Challenge. Previously, we've only done one like this, at least on this server. We've done the Scholars Challenge, which was for books. We did that a few years ago, but we haven't done one since. It's been all Gents Challenges. So we might do some different ones in the future or more film ones. Depends what people want. But this challenge basically is you have a list of a certain amount, whatever amount of films you want that you want to watch. And you also can list whatever streaming services you have access to. And so then when you're paired up with someone, they pick 5 games from your list that you curated.
5 movies.
5. What did I say, games?
You said games, yeah.
5 movies from your list that you curated, and if you want to be a supreme buff, to go for the extra bonus movie that your partner can assign you, which does not have to be on your list. It could be any movie as long as it's accessible through the streaming services that you listed. So it was a fun little bonus I threw in there as a possibility. But overall, the turnout, we had a good amount of people. It was fun, and we had all but one was at least a buff, if not a supreme buff. And we had one bore, and of course it was my partner. He didn't watch any of my movies.
Of course.
Shame. For shame, Ninja Penguin.
Shame. Shameful.
Talking about it's football season. What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? You had a whole month. You had a whole month to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Not one of my movies got watched, but almost all of everybody's other movies got watched that they picked. So let's talk about your challenge. What movies did you get?
Yeah, so I believe it was Kingdom Hearts Boy challenged me to do. Let's see. There was Wolf of Wall Street, which I watched first. The Thing, which is the 1982 The Thing. The John Carpenter. There was Promare, which is an anime. Lilo and Stitch, which I had never seen. Which all of these obviously I'd never seen, but yeah, I'd never seen Lilo and Stitch. And what was the fifth one? Why can't I remember off the top of my head? I should know. I believe it was another Animu. I thought maybe not.
Let me see. Get Out.
Get Out. Right. That's right. I watched most of those. 3 of those I watched in the last week. But
you got down. It was down to the wire for you, huh?
It was a little bit more down to the wire. Yeah, I kind of took my time a little bit with it.
It was down to the wire for me too, though. Like I was literally within the last hour of the challenge. So I
was too. I think I posted in the last. I think I finished my movie within the last 5 minutes, 5 minutes before the challenge ended. So I timed that out real good.
I was within 10 minutes. Yeah, it was very close. And there was I was streaming on something, and then there was a part where it froze with 10 minutes left of it. I'm like, what the fuck? Not like this.
But it was cool, especially too because it encouraged me to finally get a Letterboxd account.
Absolutely.
Which I've heard people talk about for a couple years now. It's really taken off, I think, this past year in particular. I mean, it was great because it was a nice, easy way to keep track of the movies I watched. I made reviews for all of them and everything. It was great, and it was great seeing other people talk about just the movies they saw. They had people. I was paired in a trio with it was myself, Kingdom Hearts Boy, and your brother. And so yeah, but it was overall it was good. I mean, I liked all the movies I watched. I think they were all pretty solid. My favorite was The Thing, which became a new one of my top movies ever.
Nice.
That movie was amazing movie. I love it. And that's gonna be I'm gonna rewatch that one pretty regularly. I think that movie was pretty spectacular. So
you didn't get to your one Supreme Buff movie.
I didn't watch. I have seen the Iron Giant before. So
at least
that was what I was challenged to do. I had seen it before, but I would have liked to watch it again because it's been years. It's been probably 20 years since I've seen that, maybe more. Yeah. So it's been a while.
Yeah, you basically haven't seen it at that point. Your memory's been wiped.
I would have appreciated seeing it again. Yeah, I think the most I remember about it was the scenes where I remember the scene where Hogarth is telling the robot. I don't remember the name the robot has. The Iron Giant, telling him to go away and while they're praying or whatever, and he's like, "Get down, the devil," because he keeps get down. And they're both the inspector and her mom is looking at him Satan.
Yeah.
I remember that, and then from memes, I remember, "Where's the giant, Mansley?" And then that's about it.
So how do you rank your 5 movies? 1 to 5.
Rank my 5 movies. Well, The Thing. Wolf of Wall Street, Romare, Get Out, Lilo and Stitch.
Dang. All right.
Lilo and Stitch is still really good. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Really good movies.
Those were all really, they were all really good. I will say the Lilo and Stitch was fun. I got to watch it with Dubs, who we've had on the channel before. He'd been wanting to watch that movie with me since basically college, so it was fun to finally put that book to rest. We finally finished that off, and it was a lot of fun getting to watch it with my pal. So
yeah, I had a lot of fun with this challenge. It was nice, like giving me an excuse to watch more movies. And these are like ones, because like my usual excuse to watch movies is if we're gonna review them, and that tends to be the newer movies. And so these were like, I had a bunch of classics that I had never gotten around to, as well as some newer ones in the mix. But it also was really cool to see everybody's, like, I think it was Josh Prep who set the like trend of posting your Letterboxd, a screenshot of your Letterboxd review, and so everybody kind of started doing that for the most part. I think it's really cool
because it's a great. The app is it's just a great tracker. Like it's a great.
I love that.
Keep track of the stuff you're watching. Yeah, I love that too.
I love Letterboxd, and also introduced me to Backlogged, which is the gaming version of that, which is really nice as well. There's also recently discovered there's a music version of that as well, called Music Board, which is very similar design.
Not albumed. Albumed.
So I actually kind of once I get back to making solo videos, I might do a video like going over all these different, like, because now there's like a website for everything, and I think it's cool to have a place like you can track your movies. The only thing I have for shows is TV Time. That's the best thing I have. There's not like a Letterboxd equivalent for it. But and then there's like Goodreads for books. There's Music Board for music. It's cool. They have all these different outlets. But okay, so for Board Game Geek is your board game review. That website's great. Whenever I'm looking into a new board game, I do look on that as well. I've never made an account, but maybe I should do that too, because I'm getting into board games as well. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the games you gave you assigned as well, or the movies?
The movies they sent. I know, a Jen's challenge on the brain. That's coming up pretty soon. Our next one.
Yeah, we're getting right into it. So I need to post the signups for it.
But. Let's see if I can remember them off the top without looking them up. So I challenged your brother to play, to watch. Yes. Well, now I'm doing it. Casino Royale, which I don't think he liked very much, which I was a little surprised by. The BFG, which he did like a lot, and I was very happy. What are those are the first two that I remember.
Got Tron.
I don't remember. Tron, right? Okay.
Whisper of the Heart.
Yep.
And Your Name.
Okay. Yeah, and I think he didn't really care much for Whisper of the Heart either, which is I think that one is like, I found that one is either you really like it or you don't get it. And I'm not saying he didn't get it, but it's like, by that all I mean is that it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, I appreciate it for what it is, but it's not like my thing. That movie is like my thing. That is one of my favorite Ghibli movies, period. But I do find that like people are either really kind of like on it or they love it. So yes, Tron, I'm glad. So these are some of just movies that off the top of my head that I just really love in general. Tron is like a real, like, I find that movie just like endlessly, every time I come back to it, I just appreciate it more for kind of what it is and what it did. Also like the acting, the performances in that are like, I don't think people necessarily talk up the performances. I love all the actors are amazing in that. David Warner, one of my favorite like science fiction actors of all time. He's almost always a villain in everything he's in, and he's always amazing. Bruce Boxleitner as Tron, and Alan, I don't remember the last name. Great performance. But just give it up to Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges is amazing in that movie. Love it. Love him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I love that movie a lot. It's just, it's meant a lot to me when I think my dad picked up like a DVD collection of it, and this is one that's like kind kind of rare these days, from what I understood. I was looking into it the other day, or not the other day, but like a few years ago, I looked into it, and it's kind of like that's sort of like a rare kind of a little collection there. So maybe you should sell it if he's looking to make a buck, because their parents are in the process of moving at the moment, so or getting ready to move. They're moving next year, but when you've been living in the same house for 35, 40 years, you accumulate things. So, but that's just a movie that's just meant a lot to me over the years. I remember showing it to friends and them not really getting it, but I've always loved it. BFG, I saw on a date night with my ex. I love that movie. It's just that's just a really good memory. We saw we went and saw like a lot of really good movies together. Ant-Man was a good memory that I have, seeing a movie with her. The Scorch Trials, the Maze Runner movie. I don't even really remember that movie all that much. I do remember that being I really enjoyed it. I never even finished that series. I didn't watch the last one. And that was BFG was another one that we went and saw, and it was just such a fun, cute little movie, and it tanked super hard at the box office, and that made me sad because I think it's a really good movie. And I remember I went and saw it with my parents as well. My dad really likes it a lot. Yeah. And Casino Royale, I did a whole Alec Talks About on this channel about my love for Casino Royale. So
yeah, you also got to pick those out of he had by far the biggest list.
He had like
600 movies.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay, and the thing is like the deadline. I totally forgot this was going on. I think you gave us 24 hours to do it. Maybe it was 48. I don't remember. But I was like towards the end, and I was at a party with friends, at my friend's birthday party, and there were substances being used. I'll just say that.
Substances.
I was drinking. Yes. Oh,
cocaine.
I was drinking. Yes, I was.
Sounds way worse.
Poked out of my mind. Yeah, I don't know. I've been drinking.
Left and right, there's drugs,
just substances being abused.
Passed around.
I'd been drinking, and so I was having a good time, and then all of a sudden I was getting messages from you being like, "Hey, hurry up and sign up," and other people were like, and then I was just I was not in the mood. I was like, it's not that I was in a good mood because I was having fun with my friends, and I was just like, sorry guys,
you went
I'm actually living life right now, and then everyone was pissed off at me, so I was like, fine, I'll sit here in the middle of this party, and I don't even like parties really, but I was like, fine, I'll sit here, I'll scroll through, and I'll pick a bunch of movies, and so I did.
You were going off on me. I'm just trying to remind you. Because I didn't want to have to randomly assign some movies to him. I did.
I was in a snippy. I was in a snippy mood for some reason. I was like, I'm with my friends. Damn it! I don't want to be bothered.
Okay, we don't have lives. Or thank you.
Yeah. That's oh, jeez. It's fine. Yeah.
He didn't get to his Supreme either, but you did give him Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Yes, I had to throw Star Trek in there when I saw some of those on the list. And I was like, yep, we gotta get that in there. So, but that's okay.
But he had a huge list because he's literally got every Disney movie, including Disney Channel movies. He wants to watch all of them.
The DComs.
Tons plus others. So, all right. So for mine, it doesn't really matter what I assigned to Ninja Penguin because he didn't watch any of it.
You didn't watch any of them.
But I was assigned Sharknado, Top Gun, Saw, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Shining, and Knives Out. All right.
That's a heck of a random selection.
Yeah.
Sharknado and Saw getting thrown in there.
And for the most part, I really enjoyed all of them. There's some great ones in here. For me, I'll say my rankings were Knives Out. I loved Knives Out. It was I've
heard really good stuff about that. My brother has said very positive things about Knives Out.
Similarly to The Thing, I think it's literally one of my top favorite movies ever now.
Yeah.
We just watched today, me and my girlfriend watched Glass Onion.
Glass Onion, yeah.
Which I don't like nearly as much, but it's so
that's the
fun.
Sentiment. That's the sentiment I've heard pretty commonly, but
because Knives Out is huge,
yeah.
Maybe top 10 movie of all time for me, and a Glass Onion is not that. It's just a fun little movie, but But I was glad I got to that because that was actually, I forgot it was the Supreme movie. It was the one I watched within the last 10 minutes. So I'm glad I got to that one. But so that's my number one. And then probably it would be Top Gun. I thought Top Gun was great.
Interesting.
I definitely want to watch Top Gun Maverick.
I've still never seen the Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick was like one of my favorite movies that came out last year.
Oh, you watched that one, huh? But not the first one.
I've not still yet to see the very first Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick is amazing though. Okay, I will say that. So
that would be my next one, followed by The Shining. The Shining was great. Really like interesting, very interesting, like directing and like extreme close-ups and intense, like very atmospheric, good at setting the tone.
Kubrick. Yeah.
And then we have Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, it was like, it didn't blow me away by any means, but it was fun. And I enjoyed like the more action adventure elements of it. It was like the plot itself wasn't the most groundbreaking thing in the world.
I feel like Raiders is one of those movies that you kind of need to grow up with to appreciate.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I grew up with the Indiana Jones movies, and there's. I think at this point, I might. No, because I don't know. I was gonna say I might rank them higher than how I feel about Star Wars these days, but I don't know if that's true because Indiana Jones's last two movies weren't all that stellar either. But the one that came out early this year, which I don't even think I talked about, because I went and saw that. I went and saw Dial of Destiny. It was all right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bother. I honestly haven't even bothered to see King with the Crystal Skull just because of the reputation that it has. So maybe I'll give it a shot at some point. I don't know. We'll see. But
I lived, like, watched with my girlfriend. We both laughed so much when he just shot the dude who was waving the sword around.
Do you know what the backstory of that is, by the way?
I didn't remember it watching it, but then I remember I did hear that he just like improvised that, right?
It was improvised because he had like they
wanted him to do something else.
Well, yeah, because there's really going to be like a little bit more of a fight scene there, but they had been filming for a long time, and I think he was suffering from like he was like horribly dehydrated and may have had dysentery or something. That like there was some bad. I can't remember the specific details, but he was not doing. Harrison Ford was not like well. He had like horrible bowel problems, like parasites maybe or something. And so he's just like why don't I just shoot him? And it ends up being like one of the best scenes.
That's my favorite
it's
part.
It's so good. It's so good because it's so him too. It's just perfect.
Just keep it pushing, not a beat miss.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then Sharknado, obviously, this is you're not doing it for a masterpiece in cinema.
Yeah.
As Ninja Penguin describes it, is obviously the best of the list. But it's fun. It's obviously fun. It was a lot of fun to laugh with, and it's very, very charming in that way. And then Saw would probably be at the bottom for me, though I did enjoy it. It was just a little too cheesy for me,
Yeah.
There's certain parts of it is like, okay, all right. And the acting was not really great, in my opinion. There was like some over the top, a little too cheesy. But I would be down to watch more of them, honestly. But overall, no complaints. Solid list of movies and a lot of variety in there for sure,
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm super grateful about Knives Out because that one stands out to me as like brilliant. I don't remember being so engaged and compelled all the way through in a movie in a long time. So
yeah, that was a Ryan Johnson film too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so that's the challenge. So we have 1, 2, 3 Supreme buffs, 5 buffs, and 1 boar. All right.
I feel like that's a challenge I want to get more of my friends involved with because I know like games can sometimes be like difficult to do, but like there's always more movies to watch out there.
Yeah,
There's always more movies.
I mean, Skilliam said he's not a big movie person. That's why I didn't do it. So fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do enjoy movies, then it's like you're never gonna have like not a list of 10 movies you haven't seen. So
yeah,
it's not like you have to own them for this. So
I mean, there's the reason that book is like 1,000 movies to watch before you die. Like that's like people like films are great. That's another reason why I love watching. I love seeing what movies they're promoting on. I know Criterion has their own like streaming service now, but like I still follow them on like Instagram to watch just like general stuff. Them just talk about that because there's some films you may have never heard of, but having someone talk about like the art of film is like to me is always really important. Even if some of the films on there are like going to be really divisive and people aren't going to like, that's to me is it's an interesting part about movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and now it's all about the timing and what we can fit in for future challenges. Like I know people would be down to do this one again for sure. So wouldn't be surprised if that came up next time. But I also personally would love to do another Scholars Challenge because I need to read. I haven't read anything in a long time.
Yeah, same honestly.
To do that. But the movie one is fun because you also get you get to check off a bunch of them, Unlike games, it's like a lot more of a time commitment, so it's going to be one or two. And with books, probably one or two. And
would audiobooks count for the Scholars Challenge would be my first question.
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Because audiobooks are going to be like how I would probably have to do it just because of how much time I spend at work and everything. And that's usually how I pass the time anyway, listening to podcasts and YouTube and stuff. So,
and I mentioned the idea of doing a music challenge as well, so that's also an idea. But of course, there's limited time, so we always have the Gents Challenge. That'll be the staple every 2 months, and then between that, I don't know if I'll do a poll or what. Maybe out of those three, like another film one, Scholars Challenge, or the music challenge, and the details would still need to be ironed out on the music one. But all of them would be fun. But at the time of this, we haven't quite started. But before the next podcast the challenge should be underway, and it's going to be the Choose Your Own Adventure Gents Challenge. I love this idea. This from Skilliam. It's a great theme idea. It's literally everybody gets to pick their own theme for their challenge. You just have to pick a theme. It could be whatever you want, and that's how you pick your list. So I'm like, that's fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll have to think about it. I might just rip what I used last time. Just do the Alphabet Gents Challenge 2.0
the Alphabet Gents Challenge 2.
But
only for Alec edition.
Only for me. Yeah, Alec only edition. I might, but there's some other ideas. There are some other things that I have for an idea. For games.
The thing with Gents Challenges, they're fun too because you can, we've done Backlog Ballot 2. You can always do sequels to the certain challenges.
Yeah.
Choose Your Own Adventure could be fun to do again.
Yeah,
but
I'm looking forward to it.
I don't know if I haven't even thought of a theme for me because I haven't even had to think about considering making one because I was a rascal. So now with the Choose Your Own Adventure,
there you go.
I have to pick one. I don't know. Maybe I always like random stuff. So we've done random challenges in the past, but maybe I'll do another just completely random list for me, randomized. But I don't know. We'll see. But I look forward to that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
And join the Discord. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. There's always there's polls going on every few days that you can vote on, whether it's like music, video game music, or other things get in the mix.
Yeah, the game music one is one that I'm particularly passionate about. I'm not always great at remembering to vote, but like game music is just like one of my favorite things, period. So but there's sections to talk about movies, there's sections to talk about collecting, game deals, posting the game deals.
I love seeing those posts popping up
on those, because
they're actually very helpful to me.
I bought games through that, so
and there's a channel where you can share your content or your streams or whatever. And then we have a whole section for the Gents Challenges and whatever off-season challenges we get into. So there's always something going on. Now, more or less, there will
Yeah.
always be some sort of challenge going on, probably, like with maybe like a week or two downtime between, whether it be Gents Challenge or no, if season one, you'll have something you could
I,
get into
I
next
think
time.
I think it's a nice, fun way to foster activity. So.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I always love consuming more different media, so that's perfect for me. Give me
Yeah.
a kick in the chutzpah to do it.
Yeah. A kick in the pants.
All
Yeah.
right, and it's fun. It's been a couple months since we've done the last podcast. I've been doing a lot. We've had our birthdays have taken place. I did. I can't remember if my girlfriend was back at the time of the last podcast. Even I forget.
It was.
I
Yeah,
might
it was
not
July.
have. She might not have
It
even
was
been
like
back.
mid-July. Yeah, it was mid-July. I think she came back in beginning of August, right?
It was the very end of July.
The very end of July. Yeah.
And so we celebrated her birthday by we took her to a nice hotel, and we went to see Beyonce in concert. She's amazing.
Pretty sweet.
She was amazing. Like, super impressed. Like, the fact that I'm always impressed by someone who's not doing like lip syncing, and she's like doing a lot of choreography and crazy outfit changes and really great production mixed in with it, and also like just killing the vocals the whole time. So I love that. I love, like, she's like one of those stars who could easily just come in for a paycheck and not like put in that much effort easily just by name recognition alone, but she's still out there like doing her thing. It's like, this is why I am where I am, and like all the respect to her for that. It was a great concert. Absolutely
Cool.
And
Nice.
then for my birthday, we did like an escape room. We did some mini golf. That was fun.
Love escape rooms. Those are really great.
Love them. But yeah, had a lot of fun times. Past couple months. Probably
Nice.
forgetting some stuff, but it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Yeah, I mean, I can't really remember. I mean, there's probably like some stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, I went and did this. Well, I had my friend's birthday. Went down to Rhode Island. We rented out a Airbnb with some friends and had a good time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That same group, we started playing Pathfinder instead of playing D&D. I know we talked about it in the past, a long time ago, but during our monthly wrap-ups, stuff that we used to do, but we were playing Pathfinder. We moved away from playing D&D. It's very similar to D&D in a lot of ways, but we started a new campaign in that. We're having a lot of fun playing Pathfinder. I think if there's like really anything else in terms of like what I've been up to. I mean, I'm going to Maine tomorrow, so that'll be probably what I talk a little bit about next time. And yeah, I don't know. That's about it for like what I've been up to.
Nice.
Not tons, not a terribly large amount.
Do you have anything else you wanted to talk to before we get into videos and comments?
Yes, there's something that I did want to bring up. I don't know if you've seen the this has been happening over the past couple of months. Do you know Jack's Films?
I do know Jack's Films, yeah.
Have you seen the kind of thing that he's been doing recently over the last like maybe month and a half?
I'm not sure that I have.
So there is a content creator known as SSSniperWolf, and she makes a lot of. She's very popular. She's got like 15.
I think I've heard tangentially about this. Yeah.
Yes. So, Jack's Films has called her out on multiple occasions in the past about how lazy and awful and terrible her content is, because she's literally stealing content and not crediting any of it. And as Jack's Films is an OG, he is an old content creator. He is in the mid 2000s channel. He is one of the real ones. Mm-hmm. He loves this platform, and he wants to defend it in whatever means necessary. So he has been hosting So he made like some videos about it, like sort of criticizing her content. But he's made a side channel called Jack's Films, which is a
Yeah.
play on Sniper Wolf's names because it's 3 S's. Sniper Wolf, SSSniperWolf. And basically that channel is full of highlights of the streams he's been doing on Twitch where they play bingo. They like him and his Twitch chat play bingo. They go through one of her like reaction videos or a couple of her reaction videos, and they play bingo to like basically be able to like on all the tropes of everything, all the mistakes that she makes or her editor's mistakes. Jack, I think his name is actually John. His all of the stuff that he like, if he can predict, Jack predicts. Basically, that's like one of the squares, the bingo squares. And there's like dozens and dozens of different bingo squares. Like he predicts what she says next. The different like catchphrases and stuff she has are all on there. It's been an entertaining saga to say the least, because it's like it's always it's fun to see someone who's extremely passionate about the thing that they do for a living, YouTube.
Yeah.
And someone who is defending the people whose content are being stolen, while also pointing out and making fun of the person that is so lazy and yet is making millions. And I don't mean this. I don't mean this lightly. Millions of dollars from the revenue that she's getting from just stealing people's content in the laziest way possible. And I say this as we half of our channel is a reaction channel, right? Kind of. It's not in the same degree, I would say, as like a lot of reaction type content tends to be. And I don't have a problem with reaction content at all. I understand what it's for. I understand that it is a little bit more low effort content, you know, not to an editing degree. That I'm sure that part is very time consuming. I know because I've talked to you about it.
Well, now those kinds of reactions though, like the ones that are the low effort ones, there's like no editing, but
yeah, well, I mean, and there have been other like the Ackman is another one of my favorite YouTube channels, and he did a video talking about like the state of like just general reaction channels and content. I mean, people like Hassan or XQC, who will just like literally like throw on news, and they'll just like eat lunch and not say anything and just watch it, and it's just like what the hell is wrong with you people? Like is that what it's sort of come down to? That's the reaction kind of content where you just sit down and watch TV and like don't say anything.
Well, yeah, with the XQC, I was going to bring that up because I did enjoy XQC, a lot of his stuff, and then you notice when he does reactions, it's very low effort. Often, like the most egregious thing to me is when he'll straight up leave the room. And even in the YouTube video, they won't even cut it out in the YouTube video.
It's just you can't be chuffed to press pause and just say, "Hang on, guys, I'll be right back."
I know.
And he was on
H3.
Hassan was on Ethan Klein. What's his YouTube? He was on H3, and Ethan was like, "Why don't you just press pause?" And then he was just like, "Well, I would like lose people or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, but you're just leaving it on. That's like you're basically just letting like isn't that kind of breaking the law? You're letting this content play, and you're not like that's not really fair use." And he's just like making all this excuse about it. And I'm just like, God, it tears my mind because like I love this platform too, and I also love Twitch.
Yeah. And
it's just really frustrating to see people just like, I don't know, excuse bad behavior.
Like XQC went on H3 and they did a whole debate where he embarrassed himself.
He did the worm, yeah. And I'm not defending Ethan Klein either. I got a lot of problems with him too, but he's sort of done some interesting things to damage his career and reputation over the years, but.
I still enjoy him for like some of the drama stuff. I like.
Oh yeah, I think he's great at covering a lot of that stuff. Yeah, it tends to be.
But the as far as fair use, I mean, I'm fully in agreement with him. Like like the fact that it's like XQC literally knows it's not transformative, and he still just does it because like whatever. I mean, he just the channel just puts so many videos out all the time of like you don't need all these, but might as well, I guess. No, I've been part of the reaction sphere and in the reaction world, like watching reactions and doing reactions for years. And like I've definitely done some lower effort reactions, especially early on, because when I was like first introduced to reactions, I was like, oh, I'm all here for it. Let me just like at first I was like, I'll react to anything, do whatever videos I want to talk about. Then it mostly became music videos is what I would react to.
I found myself more. I don't watch like tons and tons of reaction content, but I found myself enjoying a lot of music stuff. Because to me, there's an element of it that I find frustrating where they keep pausing it constantly. A, I understand why they have to do that, but B, it's also interesting because there's where the transformative part comes from, right? Yes. They talk about it and they go into it, and they talk about like the different like the chord progressions and the interesting changes and the key changes and all. I love that stuff. I love hearing like some of my favorite is like guy analyzes like anime opening or like or, like classical composition guy like analyzes anime opening, or like they analyze game music and things. Like I love stuff like that.
And something like that is a lot different from, you don't have this icky feeling watching that because it's not like you're stealing views from these $1 billion music video companies or whatever. It's like, but when you see someone like XQC who's like reacting to videos from smaller creators, it's a little bit of a different dynamic.
Well, and that's the problem. Yeah, and that's the thing with SSSniperWolf is that she's watching TikToks, and sometimes she's like not even reacting to them. Like there's like that's one of the big things is like there's been times where she just, to fill out time to get to that 8-minute sweet spot, they'll like just throw a TikTok in and not have her react to it. It's just like playing, and it's like that's literally content theft. You're just playing someone else's idea. Like it's stuff like that is.
Personally, for me, aside from the music, I really enjoy watching TV show reactions because those, when they're doing them right, they're edited down. And like one of my favorite YouTube channels is Blind Wave. They'll do movie reviews and reactions to a lot of shows, but they'll always have a lengthy discussion. There's no doubt it's fair use. Like you don't have to even think about it. Those are the channels I appreciate. You put enough thought into it. Like the only reactions I do currently are the ones that I do with you, and they are to Survivor, and they are heavily edited. So I think they're clearly transformative, and I enjoy like our reactions. There's not a single person who's going to our videos to watch the episode of Survivor. There are people who want to see us talk about and see your firsthand reaction to them.
And the thing is too, we also understand that we don't even want to risk playing the game with Paramount and with CBS to try to get the actual reactions on YouTube because that's so dicey. Like there could be like a lot of severe repercussion to it. And that's for us, like doing legitimate reactions. Like we're talking like through a lot of, and we're not. I'll say this firsthand. I'm not the kind of person. I don't phone in a reaction or performance or anything. What you see is what you get. I don't usually play a whole lot up for a camera, other than just to have a discussion with you about stuff. Like that's the most I'm really talking. I'm usually over a thing. So but at the same time, I also understand the companies like CBS would, if they ever, even if we're talking all the time, they would probably put the hammer down a little bit harder than some other companies might.
I've accidentally uploaded one of our reactions one time and it instantly, boom, blocked.
Instantly got flagged.
Blocked. It's just an instant. The system picks it up instantly, and because
it's like just playing the footage.
Obviously,
you'd have to,
obviously, it's a lot more attractive to have the reaction on the website. A lot more people Like I've read a comment on here before that was like, this is not a reaction, because they clearly skimmed the video and there was no actual reaction segment because it's in the description. But because people come on, they'll look for that reaction, jump right to it, and so if they don't see it, they might just bow out. But that's the way I wanted to do, because like with my solo channel, I've had so much, not like strikes or anything, but just so much like videos getting taken down, or like super like demonetized, whatever, for nothing. It's like instant. And like so there was, especially early on with the Pentatonics days of doing reactions to them, there was certain times where it was like you have to be super jank with it, like super cut it up, so would like slow it down or pitch it up. I mean, it's like it's doing all this stuff that was like butchering the actual video. So it was like, I don't want to have to deal with that at all. I didn't want any copyrighted stuff on the channel at all to give it any chance of that. So it's like, okay, we'll do it on Vimeo, the reaction segment, and then link to it. And that's worked really well. That's worked really well for us. But yeah, I always make an effort. Like, you're going to see a third of the episode will be chopped up into the best reaction.
The big points, right? It's not like no
not
one's
like a lot of dead air, like
yeah,
there's nothing going on. You're not going to see us reacting to the full episode, and
because you don't really need to, in my opinion. I mean, that's fine. No, for those people that would do something like that, that's fine. But I think you making it more concise is more entertaining. I like.
But it's cool. I'm really happy with our reactions. I think they're fun even for me to go back and watch. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone back and watched a few of them.
As a Survivor fan, I think I know the certain parts that people mostly want to see. The certain moments you want to see, and obviously the ones you react to more than others.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with where we're at there. It's just you need to make an effort to be transformative and to follow fair use to some extent.
Right. And so that's been one thing that, like, obviously because we do that, like, it's something that I definitely feel very strongly to a certain degree when it comes to a lot of that kind of thing, and it's fun because I've loved Jack's films for quite a while. So it's nice seeing him sort of take the charge. And there are some people that have been like criticizing because he's been doing it for like over a month now. There have been people who are like, wow, he's like really obsessed with her, and I think she even like may have made the statement at one point that he's stealing content from her or something, where he's like, that's gall to make that claim. But I like, it's when you have like a big creator taking advantage of smaller ones, it feels really icky to me. It feels really bad. I mean, like to a degree, like Paramount is a large company. To a degree, they have every right to defend their product from us, you could say, right? But what are the people who SSniperWolf's stealing content from? Like, she's way bigger. Like YouTube, they're like one of the other things that pissed a lot of people off was like YouTube's Twitter was like pumping up like, oh, SSniperWolf, like, where do you get your ideas from? She gets questions asked from her fans, and it's like, what are you talking about? Oh, you just sit around and watch TikToks. That's all you do. What do you mean? Where do you get your ideas from?
Yeah, and there's a difference between the legality of it. Like, I can completely disagree. Like, if we were to post them on YouTube, I could say, I disagree that you should be able to take down our video because I think it's transformative enough. I can completely disagree with that. Even though we do have to navigate it.
I do too.
It's like, So there's two sides to it. Like, I can disagree with it not being like to being taken down when it's completely under fair use, but at the same time understanding the transformative nature of it. And if it is ever a smaller creator situation, I would always ask. I didn't do this early on because I was the smaller creator, and I did like a couple, never super small creators usually, But if I were to ever do that, like have a bigger channel and react to smaller, I would always make the effort to ask permission first,
I think that's just the decent thing to do, right? So
Obviously,
anyway, that's been fun. I've watched every single one of Jack's videos. I tuned into his stream a few nights ago, and it was very entertaining. Because he gives away subs for people who fill out a bingo card.
Mm-hmm.
If you get bingo, he gives a free sub.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So, is that it? You want to get into the reflection section?
Yeah, I think that's about it. We can go on and talk about the comments and talk about the stuff from the past.
So, since the last podcast, which was 2 months ago, I'll just rattle off the videos we have done. The last episode of the podcast was called Subpar Submersible. All right.
Wow.
It feels really old.
That is
it was even old when we recorded that, too.
It was old when we recorded it, yes.
But then we posted Survivor Cook Islands episode 12, which was Rat Bastard. You see Candace and Adam kissing in the thumbnail there.
Yeah, that's right.
Posted the Barbenheimer review, which was mashup 2 mini reviews, Barbie and Oppenheimer. We did the conclusion to the Alphabet Gents Challenge. We did episode 13 of Cook Islands, Johnny Blue Eyes. We did Tarqaron versus the Critics, comparing our scores to Rotten Tomatoes. This was the first of the birthday trilogy, my little birthday video we did. Then we had episode 14 of Cook Islands, Hot Tub Humpback.
That was weird.
And you see
that was
Becky,
a weird moment.
Dirty as fuck in the thumbnail.
Oh, yeah.
And then
that thumbnail is pretty great.
We did the birthday gift exchange for the first time. So that was right in the middle of our 2 birthdays. We each gave each other a few gifts, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I posted the reaction to the Cook Islands finale and the reunion. So the last of our reactions to Cook Islands, and then most recently the last of the birthday videos, which was non-VTuber fan reacts to ranks VTubers by design.
That's right.
Which was your birthday video. You had me ranking VTubers and putting them in a tier list. So that was fun as well. I mean, a lot of fun content. These past couple of months. What you think? What's the highlight? What's the highlight for you?
So I just clicked into I was looking for the place in our video for our design video, and it's just me freeze framed. That's an amazing freeze frame. For that was, yeah, it was. I was just like. for like 10 seconds, I was just on one.
Oh yeah, that was like a Frankenstein episode as well, where it was 2 different days.
A horrible thunderstorm. Big highlight was the birthday gift exchange. I mean, it was just a lot of fun getting to do that. Get to see each other happy, make each other happy.
Absolutely. And wow, what a treat! I wish I had it up here. Got the Paper Mario thing, or just in time for.
Yeah, just in time for the.
North. Of course, they didn't give us the original Paper Mario, but.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, it was pretty good stuff. And then that was just a lot of fun in general. I mean, another highlight, obviously, we got to the finale of a Survivor season.
Yes.
Always good times had.
Forgot.
So.
Before this video has posted, we'll have posted the Cook Island season review as well. So that was big.
Right.
Supersized, the longest review to date, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And a lot we got to sink our teeth into. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So I would highlight those. And highlight Barbenheimer. We talked about that. It was a little late when we talked about it. I don't think it did very well. However, our videos do well. It doesn't really matter all that much.
Mm-mm.
But like no one watched it. So, but it was fun to do 2 little small reviews in one kind of video. So it was
a fun mix of videos. I mean, we're coming up on very soon. We're coming up on our October, our month of horror, which is our tradition. Yeah. It definitely will be in full swing very soon. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, working on getting costumes for that. So I've got 3 planned all three of which are currently in the mail. So
Nice.
I'm hoping hope I get show up and on time.
Well, if you're gonna recycle any of them, you might as well use that as the first one. Then maybe.
Yeah. I don't know if I have plans to do that. So we'll see. Okay. We'll find out. We'll figure it out.
But that's gonna be a lot of fun. We already have some cool videos planned for the month, and always Definitely. A lot of fun on the way. New Survivor season starting up, so absolutely. All right, let's read some comments. We received.
Do it. Go for it.
So on the episode, the Tarqaron podcast, episode 7, Subpar Submersible, Chase Ferrier commented.
All right.
He said, I'm glad you guys enjoy my additions to the Survivor discussion. I love it because nobody else does anything like this with Survivor on YouTube. I remember looking up Survivor Borneo review and your video popped up. I'm pretty sure you only had the Borneo and Australia reviews posted. And I watched them and have stuck with you guys. So I just want to thank you because I wish I could relive all these moments for the first time again. So it's awesome to watch Alec get that experience. I'm very excited for future reactions.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us. We obviously your name comes up a lot in the comments. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being a fan. And I've been having a great time. So
that's awesome.
I'm glad I've been entertaining, I guess. So
that's awesome since the Australian Outback review was posted. So that was since 2019. That's the before the channel. Before the channel was even created? Real? Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's an OG right there. Yeah.
Absolutely appreciate that.
Before even Rusty. There you go.
Rusty was here.
Rusty was here, yeah.
He wasn't watching our Survivor videos at that point, though.
Yeah.
That's true.
But that's more what I meant.
Yeah.
Rusty was obviously... We've known Rusty for years, so...
All right. On Box Art Battles, episode 8, the Harry Potter edition, my brother commented. He said, I must clear the air 100%, LOL. As with any other Box Art Battles, the competitors are selected and then randomly assigned into battles. Even here, with the 2 weak ones in the first battle, 2 Wii games facing off, which I intentionally spread the consoles for multi-console entries as much as I could, and then a lot of them ended up in the same battles against each other. And also the fire and ice face-off, purely coincidental. But I definitely remember being surprised seeing the 2 Wii ones up against each other in the same first-round battle.
Yeah,
it's crazy, because we were like, there's clearly a symmetry on like the Order of the Phoenix and, what was it? It was Goblet of Fire and one other one. It was like ice and fire look to it. So.
Oh, yeah. Goblet of Fire is the fire one, and then...
But it was like both with like Harry in the middle. Yeah,
Half-Blood Prince was the icy one, I think. Yeah.
And both with Harry in the middle and like the color scheme was like, okay, this was randomized, right? But allegedly, it was all randomized.
Allegedly.
On episode 12 of Cook Island's Rat Bastard, Chase Ferrier says the salt from Raro after Jonathan's flip is funny to me, especially from Candace, who flipped on I2 herself. Yule revealing that he has the idol to everyone is a genius move, as he guarantees that if the game flips, he will never get the votes or have to use his idol. Jonathan is also genius casting. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan was high up on my list of favorite players in the season for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one other interesting comment was from, I think it's Survivor 1234.
Yeah, he's another one.
Yes.
His comments a lot.
He said, one thing you keep bringing up is that most of the cast are recruits. However, this has been the case since Vanuatu and continues to be the case until the late 20s. And Chase Ferrier responds, this isn't entirely the truth. I have a Google sheet that tells if someone applied or was recruited or applied for a different CBS show. Vanuatu had 15 of the 18 apply. Okay, a little bit of contentious discussion here, but but based on his account, looks like 12 out of 20 on Palau applied, 9 out of 16 on Guatemala, 10 out of 16 on Panama, and then 6 out of 20 on Cook Islands. So based on that, definitely a significant drop, but
yeah. But there are still people that are like applying to be on. So
he says while there was definitely an upswing in recruits post Vanuatu, it really didn't take over until Cook Islands.
And that makes sense. There's definitely a difference in sort of tone, I would say, or timbre maybe of how the season just played out in general, and like how just the general attitudes of how people were playing. So interesting.
On episode 13 of Cook Islands, Johnny Blue Eyes, Chase Ferrier said, "And so we lose the best character of the season, as well as my personal favorite. Honestly, the fact that Jonathan survived until the final 7 when almost the entire cast had a distrust of him the entire game, as well as having 7-1 odds against him after the mutiny. Ultimately, this move worked out for Yule in the long run, but it very easily could have blown up in I2's face had Adam won the final 5 immunity." For sure.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, Jonathan was just a significant player. You can't deny how the power he brought to the season. And yeah, things got a lot less interesting after he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, he commented on the next episode also that he said the season really loses a lot of steam at the very end just because there isn't much drama.
Yeah.
Parvati uses her charm as a Hail Mary, and it just didn't work. Not much else going on this episode. Yeah, so, I mean, Cook Islands had a lot going for it. It had a trilogy of super spiciness, and then it's just like, all right, got a little boring towards the end.
Yeah, well, and then we obviously talked about it in our review and our reactions to the episodes, but like how they like went out of their way to not have drama basically at the end. Kind of amazing.
On the birthday gifty, the birthday gift. I'm saying gifty because on the birthday gift exchange, Ari Louie commented.
Oh yeah.
He said, "Happy birthday, gentlemen! This was an awesome gift exchange. Lots of really great stuff. Scrat's Nutty Adventure is a surprisingly decent little 3D platformer."
Hey.
Yeah. Not the best music, but platforming mechanics are solid, and there's lots of fun collectibles to discover.
I figured he of everybody that I know, he's probably played it.
Yeah. Another thing I didn't think of.
I know you're a big licensed game guy too, so.
Yeah. Another thing I didn't think of when I got that was like, what is there new Ice Age stuff coming out anywhere? Is there a show or something? Like it's so random.
I don't know. Yeah, it was very random.
The
I don't know if
Switch, they just made a new Ice Age game. Oh, weird.
I mean, I don't know. Is that like it could be like 5 years old for all I know. I don't know. Was there a new Ice Age that came out back then? I don't know.
He said, "We will absolutely bring the tradition back this year. The Tarqaron Cross Otaku Brothers gift exchange is a must."
I hope so. It was great. It's been great fun. We're gonna have to start playing that pretty soon, though.
Yeah.
So we don't want to end up getting another like February or whatever happened last.
Right. At least try to get January as our goal.
Yeah. Good.
Absolutely.
Good goal at least.
Okay, and on the finale of Cook Islands, Chase Ferrier says, "Ultimately, the season ends on a bit of a whimper. Ozzy wins out. Adam goes home as expected. The Sundra/Becky Fire Challenge is great, as is the final vote between Yule and Ozzy, but the season really loses its steam after Jonathan flips."
Yeah.
Sure.
Have to agree.
How the cookie crumbles sometimes, you know.
Yeah. The cookie. Hey, the Cook Islands. Yeah, it's true.
I never know how to pronounce this person's name, but it's GIRISAWESOMER.
Girizosomer. Okay.
Said, "Rewatching this with you, the pre-merge was better than I remember, but the merge was just as bad. I feel like this is one of the worst seasons in terms of rewatch value, because the underdog story is already more of a slog than it should be on the first viewing. So rewatching, knowing the I-2-4 never faced any real danger post-merge and aren't even forced to eat each other at the end due to the final 3 twists makes it painful gameplay-wise." That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. I mean, I can see this. Thinking about it with a rewatch in mind, I don't know how much. Pre-merge, definitely lots of rewatchable moments. I would even say some of the early drama for the merge. No, I guess it was all mostly pre-merge is all the kind of the good stuff, really. But yeah.
All right. So, and last comment is from Lauren Garcia, the brother of Billy Garcia. One more comment.
The sister of Billy Garcia. Yeah.
Of Billy Garcia.
As in Billy Garcia is her brother. Yes.
One last comment for us on the finale.
Awesome.
Right. She said, "Ozzy lost by his own hands. My brother, Billy Garcia, has always said that has always said that if they hadn't thrown the challenge to get rid of him, and if Billy had made it to the jury, then Ozzy would have won hands down because Billy would have voted for Ozzy to win. The loss of every original Aitutaki tribe caused a guaranteed loss for Ozzy because he no longer had a loyal original Aitutaki tribe member that was totally 100% on his side. If the original Aitutaki hadn't made it obvious that they threw a challenge, then perhaps the other contestants might have trusted them more and might not have been so quick to vote each of the former Aitutaki tribe members out, with the exception of Ozzy. When it came down to it, it was trust, loyalties, and respect that won over brawn. On a side note, Billy and Ozzy did eventually bury the hatchet and let bygones be bygones. During the pandemic,
that's great.
A larger group of the Cook Islands contestants had a reunion Zoom meeting for a podcast interview, and every member of the Aitutaki tribe was in the Zoom call. It was a blast to see the family back together again. Loved it.
That's cool. Beautiful. That's wonderful. I love hearing stuff like that. That's something that, like, I hope. Obviously, I can't know about a lot of this, but I do hope that, like, a lot of contestants, a lot of people will try to stay in touch, or at least have reunions every so often, because it's like that experience is only shared by a very few amount of people in the whole country. That's right. So, like, that's really special when you think about it. Obviously, there's going to be people that you don't like in it, but I think that's part of the beauty of it. You know, there's people that you like, but there's people that you do like, and you have a shared experience, so that at the very least there's something in common that you can kind of connect with people over. And I think that's pretty special, and I think you should try to cherish that as much as you can.
I've heard that a lot with a lot of these different casts, with different variants, but there's generally this sense of kinship you have with your cast, is like, we shared this specific experience, no one else had. Absolutely. I remember in the pandemic there were, like, these reunion calls with a bunch of different casts with this, and I remember Big Brother, there was a lot of them too. It was cool to see, like, years, like, potentially decades later, some of these casts, as much as they could got together. It was cool. But yeah, that's great to see. Yeah, good to hear. Yeah, that's interesting. Sure. What she said about Billy would have voted for him 100%.
Yeah, interesting.
That's if Billy got there, though. To be fair, like, once we said that, it was funny because it was like they were talking about how we need to get the dead weight out. They threw this challenge, and then immediately they did a tribe swap the next episode. Yeah, but I mean, it's very possible that, I don't know. They still could have gotten voted out pre-merge, so it might not have ultimately mattered, but I get what you're saying about the distrusting them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, according to them, according to the cast and how we saw in the reunion, apparently it all came down to Adam promising Yule to vote for him, that he would vote for him if they voted Jonathan out first. Yeah. And he claims he would have voted for Ozzy otherwise, but you can never really know when people talk after the fact, what they would have done.
Yeah. Sometimes your memories and stuff can blend together there a little bit, maybe. So.
Yeah, it's very convenient. Some seasons
justify things in the moment. Yeah.
Oh, I would have voted for them if they had done this. But it's like, okay, you can say that, but we don't know. All right, well, that's it. That's it for this episode of the Tarqaron podcast. A lot of fun. All right,
awesome. Oh, there is one more thing I just was thinking about. I was going to highlight it earlier, and then I just totally forgot about it. We talked about games for a while, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer came out. Amazing trailer. Really looking forward to that game coming out and playing the crap out of it. Yeah. It's great. Looks great. Looks amazing. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, and I still I keep trying. I need to go back to Final Fantasy 16. I want to finish the game.
Yeah. Oh, same. I have yet to do it too. Honestly, I've been kind of in a little bit of a gaming rut this summer. So.
Yeah, you know what's sad is that we were definitely gonna review Tears of the Kingdom, and we could definitely review Final Fantasy 16, and then
it was too many good games came out all at the same time.
There's still so many. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, Spider-Man's coming out. Baldur's Gate came out.
Yeah, I want to play Baldur's Gate. I want to play Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars came out. Yeah, I'm waiting for Sea of Stars to come out physically before I play it, but I've heard it's spectacular.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder is coming out.
Blink said to me, like, he knows I will love that game, Sea of Stars. So I was like,
Sea of Stars.
if it's game right
Well,
up my
I
alley.
imagine you
So
like Baldur's
yeah,
Gate too. That seems right
yeah.
up your alley.
I have Baldur's Gate. I've downloaded it. I don't know. It scares me. It scares me. I mean, like it.
Like the creepy crawlies. Oof.
100 hours
Oh.
of just an Act 1 you can easily spend.
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't got that kind of time.
Yeah.
um.
It's so tough. Like, I truly love video games, and you know, when I'm watching like channels like Pete Dorr and other channels, like
Yeah.
Arlo is also cool. Like getting me into like the Nintendo love
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's like, damn, I just look at all these games. I just don't have the time. I don't have time.
Yeah.
I have
me and,
5
like,
kids.
I have 5 kids.
I have 5
That's
kids
like
now.
me and Gerard, Gerard the completionist. He's
Yeah.
like I love him for talking all the games and stuff he does. He very highly speaking of Sea of Stars, and that's got me really more excited for that game. So whenever I get around to playing it,
And it's just hard to find the time these days to,
yeah,
as much as I want to. Fuck. Gents Challenge? Alright, it's time to come in clutch for me, Gents Challenge, but
that's pretty much, yeah.
give me to finish something. Yeah. Alright, I'll have to think about that theme for sure. Alright.
Yeah, same.
Thank you for watching or listening to this. If you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast feed. Alright, if you're watching the video, like the video, hit the notification bell, and leave us a comment, and we'll be sure to read it in the next episode. Alright?
Yeah, it'd be good.
And until next time.
All right.